Here's why all Christians have to admit that Mary is the mother of God. So Mary gave birth to Jesus, and Jesus is God. So logically it follows Mary is the mother of God, right? But hold on, being a mother implies you existed before your child. After all, my mother came before me. But God is eternal, so Jesus existed before Mary. In fact, because he's God, Jesus created Mary. So how can this be? Well, in the 5th century, this bishop named Nestorius tried to solve this problem by splitting Jesus into 2 separate persons. He said Mary was only the mother of Christ's human nature, not his divine nature. To Nestorius, Jesus was 2 separate persons, one human, one divine, glued together. At first, this seems kind of reasonable. Mary didn't give birth to God, she just gave birth to a man who later united with God. Problem solved, right? But here's the problem. If Jesus is 2 separate persons, who died on the cross? Just the human one? Because if God didn't die, then how are we saved? The church rejected this view at the Council of Ephesus in 431. Because if Jesus became God later in his life, maybe a few weeks after his conception or after birth, that's another heresy called Adoptionism, that he somehow inherited his divinity later on. And scripture is clear, the word became flesh, not the word entered flesh later. So from the moment of his conception, Jesus was one divine person with 2 natures. This is called the Hypoatic Union. And no, Mary did not exist before God. However, maternity isn't about pre-existence. It's about who you give birth to. You don't give birth to a nature, you give birth to a person. Mary gave birth to Jesus, and Jesus is God. Therefore, Mary is the mother of God. Not because she somehow created God, just like your mom didn't create your soul, but she gave birth to the person who is God. And I get it, this language is tricky, but here's the thing. Bad Mariology usually leads to bad Christology. If you get Mary wrong, you just might get Jesus wrong too.